Yesterday's warm-up, and like I said, I do realize some people didn't get the opportunity to do it. It'll be in a video today, so feel free to go back and look at it. We learned that subtracted from is a turnaround phrase, so this moves to the front, this moves to the back, and there's a minus sign. Squaring means this is a binomial times a binomial. It's the same thing, 2x plus 3, 2x plus 3. Here, x minus 7, x minus 7. So when I multiply these out, what I've got to remember is this minus sign goes with everything behind it. So that's why I have a parenthesis there. So it's like I'm distributing a negative 1, which doesn't do anything except for change the signs. So now the x squared is negative, the 14x is positive, and the 49 is negative. And then the last step is to combine like terms. So 4x squared minus 1x squared gives me a 3x squared. I combine my x terms and I get 26x. And I combine my constants and I get negative 40. So this is the answer. I told you yesterday number 2 was pretty important because this is what we're doing in class. It's a trinomial that we have to factor. If you notice, I don't have my 2 by 2 box here. The reason why I don't have the 2 by 2 box is because I know this is an easy trinomial, and I know that when I get my magic numbers, they go in the parentheses in the back. And then the x squared that's out in front breaks down into x times x. Notice my magic numbers are both negative, so my signs are both negative, both minus signs. And then it says which is a factor, and we talked about this, how with multiple choice tests, they're not going to have the entire answer. They're only going to have one of the factors, so the answer had to be C. Any questions on that one? If you continued through and did the 2 by 2 box, you should have still gotten the same answer. Any questions on that? Anybody need me to elaborate on those two further? More than happy to. Okay. Okay, I threw a tricky one out at you, and this definitely could be a standardized test question. They are saying that there's a pool that's surrounded by a garden, and here's your picture. And it gives you an expression for the outer rectangle, and then an expression for the pool, and it says what's the expression for the shaded area. So y'all, this is a subtraction problem. We take the outer rectangle and we subtract the inner rectangle. So the expression for the outer rectangle, I multiplied 2 by 2 box and got x squared plus 8x plus 15. The expression for the pool, the inner rectangle, I multiplied that out and got x squared minus 1. The middle terms went away. And then I'm subtracting, trying to get all of this in the picture. And then I'm subtracting, so there's your outer, and I'm subtracting the inner. Notice again, when I'm subtracting, I've got that entire phrase in parentheses, because I've got to distribute that negative 1, and then we're just combining like terms there to get 8x plus 16. We'll do a little bit more of these right here. Question? Anybody? I know only part of y'all did this, but okie dokie. Okay, so this is exit ticket B. Make sure you are, if you're adjusting your answers, make sure you're on exit ticket B. I call this a hard trinomial because the leading coefficient is something other than 1, so that means we've got to go through this whole spiel. Okay, first term first box, last term last box. Yesterday I realized everybody's got that down. Multiply together, that goes on top. The bottom of the x is always the middle term. Most everybody's got that down. Now this is where we're coming into problems, is finding those magic numbers. So don't forget, you've got y equals in the calculator, you put that top number in divided by x, and you just scroll through all your factors till you find the pair that combines or adds or subtracts to this bottom number. So here's your magic numbers, and I pop those in, and you got to find greatest common factors. And again, finding greatest common factors is a little tricky for some folks. So I showed y'all a trick for that. Go to GCD in the catalog and put both of the numbers in. It does not work for the letters. It does not work for the variables. Okay? You cannot put negatives in. It's going to give you an error message. Okay? I think we've learned that. Okay? Your magic numbers reveal the signs in the parentheses. The signs are different. And when the signs are different, you will find one of these that has both negatives, and that needs to come out, and that tells you which one is the minus sign. Okay? Here I just kind of did this in my head, but if you first term, last term, remember when you're multiplying there, 11 goes here, and your magic numbers are 7 and 3. This is the one where I changed this to a 10. I forgot about that. Are 7 and 3, and they're positive. And with the easy trinomial method, that's the one where there's a 1 right there. Y'all, I can stop right there. The 7 and the 3 go in the back. The x's go in the front. Okay? Any question on that one? Okay? If you have exit ticket A, this is your ticket. Same thing. First term, first slot. Last term, last slot. Multiply together. The middle term goes in the bottom. The magic numbers were -8 and +3. I find greatest common factors. Here, we should have a 14 on top, a 9 on the bottom. The magic numbers were 7 and 2. With easy trinomials, I just pop the magic numbers in the back. The x's go in the front. Question there? Okay. The first method we learned was factoring by the greatest common factor method. Okay, so I need the greatest common factor between these two terms. I'll take volunteers until there are none, and then I'm going to call on people. Who would like to volunteer to tell me what the greatest common factor is?
3.
Okay, but there's more. 3 what? Louder. Okay, x, we going to be here forever. X to what power?
3.
Okay, x to the third. Is there more? Y to the what?
1.
It's to the first power. Okay, so remember, it's got to be in common, so x would have to show up in both. Once it is, the lowest power is the greatest common factor. Y showed up in both, lowest power, and 3 is for coefficients. 3 will go into 15, so 3 is your greatest common factor. I am going to divide every term by my greatest common factor. And remember, we're subtracting powers now. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. When I subtract powers on the x, that leaves me an x to the first power. When I subtract powers on the y, that leaves me a y to the first power. 15 divided by 3, that's a +5. X's cancel, y's cancel. There should not be a y in this last part. Question on that one. Okay? Newer factoring methods. Okay? I call this hard because that leading coefficient is something other than 1. So we got to go through all of this. Okay? First term, first box. Last term, last box. I'm not going to fool with the x squared. When I multiply, I'm just going to pop those x's in the boxes. Multiply the coefficients and get 20. What goes on the bottom of the x? It's always the middle term, -12. Okay? So now, I need my magic numbers. So I'm hearing somebody said what? -2 and -10 are my magic numbers because when I multiply, I get to 20, and when I add them, I get to -12. So I'm going to pop those in, -2, -10, okay? If you switch these, it's fine. Okay, you're just, what I get on the side, you're going to get on the top. What I get on the top, you're going to get on the side. Greatest common factor for me here is 5x. Here it's a 2. Here it's a 1x, because between 5 and 2, 1 is the only factor. Here it's a 2. So 5x and 2 are going to go in the parenthesis together. X and 2 go in the parenthesis together. That's always. Okay, what's together on the side goes together in the parenthesis. I look back, both my signs are negative, so I need minus signs in the parentheses. Question there? Okay. Easy trinomials, I call them easy because the leading coefficient is a 1, so technically I don't have to finish this box, okay? So first term, first slot, last term, last slot. When I multiply, I get a -12. What goes in the bottom? -4. Need my magic numbers. Again, just to have it written down, and in my video, you would go to y equals, you would put -12 divided by x, and you would go to the table and you would have a list. Okay, and somebody already said it. What are my magic numbers? -6 and negative, did you say it should be +2, okay? Because when I multiply, I get to a negative number, and when I combine these, I get -4. So -6 and 2, okay? Again, the reason why I call this easy is because I can stop right there. The back of the parentheses are going to be -6 and +2. When I break down this first term, it's x and x. They go in the front of the parentheses. We good there? And just one more time, if you had x plus, don't put this away. Don't put it away. I got questions. Don't put it away. X plus 2 first and x minus 6 last, it's the same thing. Okay, so this is the reason why I don't want you to put your warm-up away, okay? Don't put it away. I want you to look back at number 1 of your warm-up. If this was multiple choice, which most of your test is, could you answer this question? Okay. What is the answer? It is D. But y'all notice we still had to factor to get to that. So when you're given these questions, which is what you're going to be given, you've got to still factor through and not try to just eyeball this and circle an answer. Okay? So what we pulled out as the greatest common factor, that was not it and that was not it. It was what's in the parentheses that is your answer here. It's this guy here. Now, it could easily, I could have put the greatest common factor as an answer choice, but I didn't. So it's D. D is the correct answer. Okay? All right. Number 2 of your warm-up. Can you answer this question? Which is a factor of 5x squared minus 12x plus 4? Raise your hand if you think it's A. Okay. B. C. D. Somebody thinks it's B. Okay, well, let's look back at our warm-up. My 2 factors were 5x minus 2 and x minus 2. Those were my 2 factors, 5x minus 2 and x minus 2. A is the correct answer. Oh, did I put another one in there? Well, doggone it. Yeah, so there's two answers. A and C, that won't happen. Oh no, you're only gonna have one that would work. Maybe I change this to a 4. Now it's A. That stays right here in this class. The rest of the classes won't know that, okay? So y'all don't tell them, okay? Are we good? It's A. Okay, number 3. Let's hope I didn't mess this one up. Number 3, your warm-up. Sarah, don't even be shaking your head at me. There's more mistakes to come. Y'all got me till June. I got first block to correct them. C? Did I make a mistake? Is that the only factor up there? Thank goodness. Okay. C? So let's see. X plus 2, X minus 6. Yep, C. Y'all please remember, on multiple choice, you have still got to factor these out. You've got to factor these out to answer the question, okay? We good? Okay. So, this is what we're going to do.